This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Here on VSiN PrimeTime, I'm Scott Seidenberg alongside Will Hill as we are monitoring everything going on in both the NBA Play-In game, the final play-in game between the Grizzlies and the Mavericks, and Major League Baseball has some games in progress. Last segment, we just watched it as Francisco Lindor walked off against the Cardinals. Mets win 5-4, a walk-off solo home run for Francisco Lindor in the bottom of the ninth after the Mets gave up the lead in the top of the ninth. So a 5-4 win for the Mets. Will, you were walking me through it. What a bomb shot by Lindor. Good moment for him. He was 0-4 in the game leading up to that.
Yeah, and you liked his reaction. You thought he gave a very, I wouldn't say animated bat flip, but a very casual bat flip, and then he just kind of sat there for a minute. I wouldn't say admired it, but a very he enjoyed the home run. Would you, if you hit a home run like that, or you just hit a home run in general, what would the Scott Seidenberg? I know you're a softball player. What is the Scott Seidenberg home run reaction, home run trot like? Well,
there is no trots for me because in softball that I play, it's hit and sit. So you hit a home run, you go back to the dugout. It's all about speeding the game up. There's no reason to go around the bases. Plus, everybody hits home runs. It's very easy to hit home runs. You're limited to a certain amount per game. So it's more of a swagger play for me, which is what I loved out of Francisco Lindor. Like that was not that wasn't an animated bat flip. That was a swagger reaction. And that's what I like to see from Lindor. So, and that's what I do as well. So the Mets win 5-4. Congratulations there. Elsewhere finals, the Braves a 6-4 win over the Twins. Red Sox rout the White Sox 10-3. Blue Jays a 3-1 win over the Mariners. You mentioned earlier the Yankees with the 1-0 win over the Rays. Reds 8-3 over the Orioles. Phillies 7-2 over the Marlins. Tigers 7-2 over the Royals. Guardians 10-7 over the Pirates in our one-day game, which was a high total, a windy total over in Wrigley, 13-11. In one of the wildest games you will see this season. Games in progress right now. Bottom of the eighth inning in Arlington. The Dodgers holding on to a 1-0 lead over the Rangers. And we talked about this before. The Rangers 9-1 to the under at home this season. Top of the sixth inning in Milwaukee. The Brewers lead the A's 3-0. Top of the seventh in Houston. Astros 5-4 over the Padres. And bottom of the second inning in Anaheim. No score between the Giants and the Angels. This was one, Will, I was thinking about playing a first five under. I just had thoughts that maybe I didn't want to lose because the Giants scored a bunch of runs. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I just, as an aside, I miss when interleague was special. It was not every day. Now it's just kind of watered down. I remember it used to be a week or two at a time, then you take a break, then you do another week or two, and it was fun. It was different. The leagues had different rules, so it was almost like a different game where if you're a Yankee fan, you get to see their pitchers bat. Now it's just every day. It's kind of, you even forget that it's interleague. But no, I didn't play anything in these late games. Still watching this Dodgers-Texas game. That game flew by. I guess when you got a 1-0 game between these two pitchers and a pitch clock, you can get some of these quicker games. But no, keeping an eye on that. Keeping an eye on the basketball. You and I both loved the Kings against the Mavs, and we thought, end of a long season for the Mavs. Maybe they mail it in. Maybe we were just a day early. Maybe this is the day where it's exit stage left. It's 1-2-3 Cancun because the Grizzlies so far all over Dallas here.
Yep, 29-14 is your score. Memphis minus 13.5 on the live line. Live total of 226.5. You have a play on the under, I know. I have a small play on the Mavericks at plus 6.5, which that's probably long gone. I just hope I hit my player props in this one. Those player props that we are tracking. Klay Thompson over 2.5 3-pointers made. He has 2 3-pointers made, and with them losing, I don't think that we're not going to hit this. I think he's going to shoot more threes, so he should make another one. So looks like we're pretty good there. I do have the under 24.5 for Ja Morant. He has 9 points right now. 5 of those 9 have come from the free throw line. He has 2 of 6 from the field, 5 of 5 though from the free throw line. Will, the concern was the ankle for Ja Morant. And part of me going the under for his point total is fading this injury, thinking that he could re-aggravate it. He could not play a full complement of minutes, and also it might hinder his shooting ability. He's 2 of 6 from the field. Maybe the ankle is causing him to have some discomfort. 5 of 5 from the free throw line. That's how he's gotten to his 9 points so far.
Yeah, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but with a potential game on Sunday and a big lead, you wonder if they build up a comfortable lead. Now, it's not going to be in the first half, but let's just say they stretch this out and they're up.
If they're up, yeah, you're right.
Third quarter, and third quarter they pull him, and you look for a live player prop under, and you figure, all right, let's kind of save him and get ready for OKC.
No, I love that, and that's a way that I could hit this 24.5 going under anyway. Let's say he's got 20 points. And, it's the end of the third quarter, and you're right, he doesn't play the fourth quarter because the Grizzlies are up 20. And they got to get, and he's dealing with the ankle. So that's another handicap on why, the under to me was the right play here. To combo that, or to as a correlation off of that, I did play the over on Desmond Bane at 22.5. He only has 2 points. He's only taken 1 shot. And he's made that 1 shot. So cool. He's 1 of 1 from the field for Desmond Bane. And Jaren Jackson Jr., I have his over 27.5 points plus rebounds plus assists, also known as PRA in the prop game. He's got 6 points and only 1 rebound. Not great. Not great, Will. Not great. John Morant just drilled a 3. He now has 12 points. Not looking like a good night over here.
If it, I think I know the answer to this. If it is Grizzlies Thunder, which it's looking like at least early, I don't think either of us give Memphis a chance to win that series. What are you thinking? OKC in 5, something like that?
Could you be talked into an over 5.5 if it's plus money?
Probably not. It feels like one of those where OKC stomps them the first 2 games, they get their split in Memphis, and they close out in 5. So
I would agree.
I'd be. Yeah,
I would agree, but if you got the star power of John Morant, and you got these beautiful teal jerseys with the Vancouver Grizzlies logo,
different story.
It's completely different story. 34-16 is the score right now. I'm curious what that market is going to be, because you might be better off. I mean, I don't want to pick the spots and just take the Grizzlies at plus money. In certain games. But if I'm getting a plus money price on over 5.5 games, I mean, maybe they do win. Maybe they can steal 2 games. Maybe they can.
I think you will be getting a plus price, I would imagine. Yeah, and it is funny that we're both.
But I want a significant plus money price. I don't want plus 105. Like I already played.
Yeah, you want like 2-1, 3-1, something like that.
Yeah, like I played the Knicks series to go under 5.5 at plus 105. But I want more than that. Like I'm trying to make a bet that's contrary to the market here. And that's why I think like that Knicks price is stupid. It doesn't make sense. For a team that's minus 400 to win the series, to have the over 5.5 be juiced and the under 5.5 to be plus 105, that doesn't make sense. They're minus 400 to win the series. How does that series go 6 games?
Yeah, no, it's funny too. Like we both could just kind of write off Memphis, or at least I do. Like, maybe it'd be 4 or 5. Who knows? Maybe they go 6. Memphis was the 2 seed in this conference not that long ago in the season. They fell off the second half of the season, last quarter of the season or so. But it's funny to just think of this team was a 2 seed, a couple month or 2 ago, whatever it was, and now all of a sudden it's like, they got no chance in the series. But I think OKC wins and wins pretty comfortably. They'll be rested. They'll be home. I think OKC's a juggernaut.
Let me spin this around, and let's have a little thought experiment right now. Okay. Let's say that the Warriors don't lose that game where, what was it? Like Harrison Barnes hit that 3, right? And and the Warriors lose to the Spurs. And so let's say the Warriors don't lose that game and the Warriors end up not in the play-in round. So they wind up capturing the 6th seed or whatever. And let's say at the end of the year, the Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves in that game that they lost on the second or third to last game of the year. And so let's say the play-in round, like the Timberwolves were in the play-in round, not the Grizzlies. Or maybe you can even put the Warriors in there, whatever. If the Grizzlies were the 6th seed right now, and it was Grizzlies-Lakers first round, what would your thoughts be? What would your thoughts be on that first round series?
What's the price, you mean?
Yeah, and what's your thoughts on it? Do you think the Grizzlies are live in that series? Do you think that they are the same type of underdog that the Timberwolves are, or do you think that they're less of an underdog than the Timberwolves are? Lakers are minus 195 over the Timberwolves. Would the Lakers be minus 195 over the Grizzlies if that was the first round? You think they'd be more? I think they'd be more.
I don't think there's a lot of enthusiasm for Memphis. First of all, we saw Minnesota almost get to a finals last year, beat Denver. Okay. They have Edwards. So I think the Lakers
much
would
different
be
team,
closer
much different Minnesota team last year. Let's acknowledge that.
Yeah, but they still got the star. They still got Edwards. They still have Gobert. I understand no Towns there, but I do think Edwards in their run last year is enough to make the market more enthusiastic about them versus Memphis.
All right. The only reason why I brought that up is because I thought maybe if you felt something different about Memphis if they were not in the play-in round, then why does our opinion change based off one loss that puts them in the play-in round?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I wanted to ask you your thoughts about
Gotcha.
that. But hey, if you're betting on sports, why not try the races? First Bet lets you wager on hundreds of horse races every day from top tracks around the U.S. and around the world. Sign up at firstbet.com. That's the number one stbet.com. That's how you spell it out. Use promo code VSiN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days up to $200. Head to firstbet.com today. The Grizzlies do have well in control of this game. They have a 37-22 lead over the Mavericks as the first quarter is coming to a close. Coming up next, we're going to get into Major League Baseball. Jennifer Piacenti, hope I pronounced that correct, from SiriusXM Fantasy, going to join us here. He's Will Hill. I'm Scott Seidenberg. This is VSiN PrimeTime.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on VSiN PrimeTime, I'm Scott Seidenberg alongside Will Hill, and we are joined in studio here in the Circus Sportsbook downtown Las Vegas by SiriusXM fantasy host Jennifer Piacenti, as we give the proper pronunciation on that name. Thanks so much for joining us, Jen.
Very
I appreciate the time. Major League Baseball, it's been a fun start to the season. Will and I are all over the baseball bets. Will's been suckering me into these next at-bat bets. Live during the game, and he's been doing the walk props for a guy like Aaron Judge on the next at bat. Will, just talk us through your philosophy on the Aaron Judge next at bat props.
I wouldn't pitch to him, especially when I don't have to, and the game is tied and nobody's on base in the eighth inning, like the other night when they just let him win the game by himself with a homer. So you're getting 4-5 to 1 plus 475 plus 525 on these plate appearances to walk. The one caveat is you have to bet these ahead of time by a few batters. So sometimes he's going to get up there, man on first and second, man on first, where you're not necessarily going to walk him. But I think he's at the point where, just look at his numbers. Why wouldn't these teams walk him more?
I know you do a lot of handicapping before the game. You do a lot of the futures markets. How much in-game betting do you do when it comes to baseball?
I do some, because there are a lot of. I think what's interesting is when you pull up the live in-game market, you can tell that a machine decided.
Yes.
You can tell that a person didn't make that book.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you know that this particular reliever always struggles in this ballpark, or that this particular team, for instance, the Cardinals, they hit better between innings 7 through 9. They always do, but the machine doesn't know that. So there's a lot of opportunities there, and that walk prop is actually a perfect example. I mean, Yordan Alvarez is another one. They walk all the time despite the fact that he's not hitting. He gets walked a lot as well, so there are certain hitters you can do. I've also found this year, one of my favorite things to do is target under for hits. I mean, there is Julio Rodriguez not to get a hit. That hits a lot. And it pays 2 to 1 usually. Eugenio Suarez, plus 150 to not get a hit. The guy never hits. He hits home runs, but he just generally has a lot of games with no hits. So that's another one that I'm always looking at ahead of time, and then even within the game.
That's interesting. One thing that I like doing is I love playing in-game totals because, and Will and I talked about this on previous shows. Let's say you have a game, and we'll give you an example right now. And this is bad because it's the top of the ninth inning. Dodgers are winning 2-0 over the Rangers. The bases loaded. But let's just say it was earlier in this game. It's 1-0, Dodgers over the Rangers. And you want to bet the Rangers to come back and win. Sure. You want to chase a little plus money price. buy in on the Rangers to come back and win. Okay, you think, hey, they couldn't hit the starting pitcher. The relievers are coming in. Maybe the bats will wake up. You want to bet that team to come back. I'm more inclined to play the live over, because if you think the team's coming back, that means at least 2 runs are going to be scored, because they have to score that to win. Or if they're down by 2, they have to score 3 to win. And then it leaves the option for the opposing team to score. Or you wind up getting a tie and you go into extra innings with our favorite ghost runners on second base. So I'm more inclined to do a live total rather than betting a live side.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Though I have to say, again, because of machine learning, the other day I'm looking at a live game and Yankees were down by like 1 run and they were plus 185 to win versus the Royals, who cannot hit to save their lives right now at Yankee Stadium. And I was like, is this the easiest bet I ever made? Click, you know? So yeah, I do indulge in the live betting now and then.
Jennifer, we're about 3 weeks in. What from the start of the season here do you think is real? What have you changed your opinion on? Any teams you feel differently about now than you did a few weeks ago when the season started?
I think the Padres are real, like for real. And right now, they're plus 2,200 to win the World Series. The Cubs and the Padres both, they have the biggest run differentials in the league right now. I think it's plus 37 and plus 38. It's a lot better than the Dodgers. It's better than the Yankees. And the thing about the Padres are they're top 10 in hitting as far as runs per game. I think they're 9th in runs per game. They're also top 10 in pitching, and they have a lockdown bullpen. And I think what's so interesting about the Padres, too, defensively, they're also strong. If you think about it, the entire team is made up of shortstops. Yeah. Like originally, they know how to play. So I think they're a really, really interesting team. And I know people are going to have trouble buying in because we've thought it was the Padres year now for what is this, like the 4th year? You know, the Juan Soto experiment, et cetera, the Tatis suspension. But it seems like this is it. I think this is it. I'm buying it. And at 22 to 1.
Yeah, I've been talking about them to win the division for a while now because it's plus 700.
For the division.
Which makes no sense. Like, they have the best record right now. They're the best home team in baseball. And I get it. The Dodgers are the greatest team ever assembled. I understand that. And they're probably going to get better at the trade deadline. But at plus 700 odds, every other division is a much shorter odds if you're looking at just the second place team versus the team that's in first place. But this is the team that's in first place that's plus 700 in the Padres. There are a lot worse bets to be made than a plus 700 ticket on the Padres to win the NL West.
Yeah. I think the Giants are an interesting team this year, too. They're a lot better than I expected as well. So there's actually quite a few teams that are exceeding expectations. I think the division that's most disappointing is, well, it's probably a tie between the AL West and actually the AL East. I'm not that impressed.
Speaking of the American League, the National League, we talk about the Dodgers, the Padres. It is so loaded. Yeah. Scott and I were talking about earlier. If you have a sleeper, if you have an inclination on a weird team, the Blue Jays, the Mariners, pick your team. This could be one of those years where somebody strange comes out of the American League just because there's no great team. There's no dominant team. How do you handicap the American League? Who's good? Is anyone good? What are your thoughts in general?
Well, I think nobody's good. I think you're right. But I actually wrote some notes down about this because I was just going through this earlier, and there is really nobody interesting. You know, the Texas Rangers right now have better odds than the Tigers. They have better odds. You know, they're a fake team. They have 13 wins. It should probably be like 8. They're not even scoring 4 runs a game. I don't buy into the Rangers. I actually think the Astros could be, again, a team that sticks around. They've proven they can do it over and over again. Don't worry about the slow start. They've done this like the last few years. Yordan Alvarez isn't hitting yet. Cam Smith is just coming into his own 2-home-run game tonight. So I'd probably, lean toward the Astros. That's not a very surprising name because we see them a lot, but the odds are pretty good right now. I mean, I don't have them all in front of me, but I mean,
Astros to win the American League, the Astros are like plus 800. Yeah. I'll give you one better at plus 850, and we're joined in studio by Jennifer Piacenti from SiriusXM Fantasy. I'm Scott Seidenberg. He's Will Hill. This is VSiN Primetime. Red Sox at plus 850. Now, I've been very high on the Red Sox. One of my biggest season futures bets is the Red Sox to make the playoffs. So I'm a firm believer that they're at least going to get a wild card. If they can, maybe they can win the division. We'll see. But at plus 850 to win the American League, this lineup got so much deeper with Alex Bregman. They have 3 Gold Glovers pretty much in the outfield. their best prospect still hasn't shown up. I know everyone's talking about Christian Campbell winning the Rookie of the Year. Roman Anthony is still waiting to get called up. You add Crochet at the front of that rotation. You add Chapman in the back of the bullpen. You got a manager that's been there and done that before. Why not the Red Sox?
I think the Red Sox are just as good of a bet as the Yankees, to be quite honest.
Wow.
So I would rather take that. But I don't like the Yankees are favorites. What are the Yankees for AL East?
To win the division?
To win the division.
Yankees are plus 115 to win the division.
Really?
Red Sox plus 330.
I mean, obviously that's the Red Sox. I would never tie a bankroll for the Yankees or the Dodgers. It's ridiculous. For the division or for the league is what you're saying. They're 850.
I was saying
American
plus
League?
850 to win the AL.
Absolutely.
Once they get in,
8 to 1.
8 to 1 to get in.
It's just who gets lucky at that point too.
And I think Will, you agree with me? They get into the dance.
Yeah,
I do. Cora, good manager, prospects to trade. To me, I a really good player in Devers. I completely agree. The Red Sox are live. I think everybody's live in the American League. I just think I don't know that there's a 95 win team, and with all of these teams that make the playoffs now, you get in and you just kind of hope you get hot and the ball bounces your way at the right time.
I want to talk about the awards market with you because I want to know what you have in your portfolio already, what you're interested in playing now for the first couple of weeks of the season. We got about a minute left here, but let's just get into that Rookie of the Year because we're talking about the Red Sox and Christian Campbell being at plus 200 as the favorite. Roman Anthony, as I mentioned, is the Red Sox top prospect, hasn't gotten called up yet. 28 to 1 to win AL Rookie of the Year. Worth a flyer?
absolutely. He's got the pedigree. I personally am a Cam Smith fan. I got him at plus 4,000 a few weeks ago. And then he ended up being like the second favorite after Christian Campbell right before the season started. It was like just 3 to 1 or something silly like that. And now I think it's back up to plus 1,800. So
yeah, 20 to 1 I'm seeing up on FanDuel right now.
21.
Tied with Jackson Jobe. So the fourth favorite, Christian Campbell.
He's been good. Jackson Jobe's been good.
Campbell won. Jacob Wilson. Actually, Jacob Wilson and Campbell are tied.
Two.
Then the Yankees' Jason Dominguez is next at 6 to 1, followed by Jobe and Cam Smith. We'll talk more about the futures market in terms of the awards, and then also take a look at the schedule for tomorrow in Major League Baseball, and maybe get a draft bet here from Jennifer. Jennifer Piacenti from SiriusXM Fantasy, joining me, Scott Seidenberg and Will Hill. Plus, we got to tell you about the Grizzlies dominating the Mavericks right now in the final play-in game in the Western Conference. This is VSiN PrimeTime, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on VSiN PrimeTime, I'm Scott Seidenberg, joined by Will Hill, and in studio, Jennifer Piacenti from SiriusXM Fantasy, as we're talking some Major League Baseball. We were taking a look at the futures market and the awards market as well. Taking a look at what you've seen so far, Jennifer, in the first couple of weeks of the season. Where do you think there's value right now for somebody to win an award, whether it's MVP, Cy Young? I know we have the two Cy Young favorites going tomorrow in the National League with Paul Skeens and Hunter Green, both on the mound. And I feel like when it comes to those two, the odds are just going to change based on every single start. Yeah. But if you look at who's performing and where you are in the futures market, who's jumping out to you, who's somebody you would take a chance on?
Yeah, some people I would take a chance on. I would take a chance on Hunter Brown, 14 to 1. And he's allowed the same amount of hits per game as Paul Skeens. By the way, Paul Skeens, very interesting. He goes tomorrow. We should talk about him a little bit. The way he's pitching this year is he's lights out, but it's in a slightly different way than I think people thought it might be. Cole Reagans, 6 to 1 is interesting to me, though. He had a rough night tonight, allowed 5 runs, but I think just had a little bit of control issue versus the Tigers. But, leads the league in strikeouts. He's second in CSW, which is called strikes and swinging strikes. Pretty impressive. Hunter Brown, like I said, I like him. I like Christopher Sanchez in the NL. Now, obviously, that's probably going to be Hunter Green or Paul Skeens, but as injuries do happen and things like that, Christopher Sanchez, sub-3 ERA, 8th in K per 9, looking really good so far for the Phillies. And if the Phillies get hot and they start winning a lot of games, the Phillies might have a better record than the Pirates and the Reds. So there's some value there, I think, at 16 to 1.
How about the MVP? Is it as simple as Ohtani and Judge? We don't know when Ohtani's going to pitch, and that's an interesting subplot here. But Ohtani and Judge are obviously, rightful favorites, I would think. Do you have any opinions on either MVP race?
I do think that they're rightful favorites, but it's just like whoever wants to tie up their bankroll for these favorites, it's no fun. I like to take really big swings. I mean, why not Kyle Tucker? The guy is on a tear. The Cubs are surprising everyone. Kyle Tucker, someone I would love. Bobby Witt Jr., again, probably not a great payout for that. Obviously, a sluggish start for the Royals, but he's such a talent. There's just a lot of players out there that I would take. I would not have a single share of Judge or Ohtani. There's absolutely no value there. And they're both awesome. I'm not discrediting them in any way, but there's just it's just a bet I would never make.
Yeah, Judge minus 350 is just
silly.
So stupid.
Just silly.
Ohtani is at plus 190. I mean, you could look, Fernando Tatis has gotten off to a great start, and the Padres are winning. He's plus 500. Kyle Tucker, as you mentioned, is plus 650. If you still think Soto's gonna, lead the Mets somewhere, he's 15-1. Bryce Harper's 30-1. Ellie De La Cruz is 40-1. I mean, that guy's got so much talent that if the Reds make a push in that Central, which I don't think so, I think it's a one-team division in the Cubs, maybe he could be a long shot here, but we know the voters are going to come down to these top guys anyway. It's probably going to be Ohtani and Judge once again, especially if Judge is competing for a triple crown with the batting average upwards of 400. You mentioned Paul Skeens. Talk to me about Skeens and this start coming up tomorrow here for the Pirates, who are taking on the Guardians and Ben Lively.
Super interested in this one because it's, Skeens has never seen the Guardians never seen Skeens, and usually the pitcher has the advantage there. But everyone's so excited about Skeens, and I do a lot of player props. So everybody always wants to take the over on Paul Skeens' player props for his strikeouts. He's only had 7 strikeouts, no more than 7 strikeouts in a game this year. So 6 in 2 games, 7 in 2 games. Is there a possibility that he goes over? Yes, because he has the advantage tomorrow. Versus the Guardians because they haven't seen him. But the Guardians are not a strikeout-prone team. I'm really interested in this because one thing that people don't realize about Paul Skeens, I think, is how many ground balls he's getting this year. His ground ball percentage is higher than Framber Valdez. I believe it's just a little bit higher than Hunter Brown. He is just so crafty. There are so many ways he can get you out. They won't necessarily be a strikeout. I'm not saying that he's not the best pitcher, but there's many ways to get there. So unlike someone like Cole Reagans, where you're going to expect a 10 or 12 strikeout game, I'm not sure we're going to see a lot of those kind of games from Skeens. So I think we're going to see a fantastic pitching. But I don't know if you're going to get those double-digit strikeouts like we were before because he wants to be able to pitch longer into games, and they need him to. What else do they have in Pittsburgh? So I think 7-8 Ks are what you're going to get for Paul Skeens games in general. And I don't think we're going to see those flashy numbers. And I think it's also going to be a key to why he's going to be able to pitch longer and probably be a really elite pitcher, one of the most elite we've ever seen.
How about Braves and Twins? Sale is a minus 205 favorite going against Woods Richardson. Do you have anything in this game that you'll anticipate? And what are your thoughts with the Braves in general? Obviously, a slow start. Do you think they bounce back, or is this something where you should be concerned if you're Atlanta?
Did you see that story where Patrick Corbin pitched? He allowed like 1 run, but right before the game, he got bit by a venomous spider.
Yeah, I was hoping that he would just be normal Patrick Corbin because Fade Patrick Corbin Day is my favorite day of the week, and I lost. So.
I think what we need to do is get a magical pitching spider for Chris Sale, right? Because clearly there's something in there that fixes them. I think Chris Sale is going to be fine. He's still got an elite strikeout rate like we were talking about. He's still striking out 11 batters per 9. But yeah, he's got some issues. The Braves in general have issues. They need Ronnie Acuna back. They need Spencer Strider back. And, he started this week, but they need healthy Spencer Strider. I do think that the Braves will be okay. I do. And I think that they are a value that you could consider. That's one of the better values. The Braves are a good team. And as you said, if they just get into the playoffs and they get hot and everyone healthy at the same time, who says they can't win the World Series too? They have the talent.
Absolutely, if healthy.
If healthy.
That's the biggest thing.
If healthy.
Another game that intrigues me tomorrow is Red Sox-White Sox. It's Garrett Crochet, who's the favorite to win the Cy Young in the American League against Shane Smith. This is the exact same matchup that we saw last week when Crochet took a no-hitter into the 8th inning. It wound up being a 3-1 score. I got very lucky to cash my Red Sox minus 1.5. I actually got unlucky because what should have been strike 3 was called a ball that led to a single, and they scored, but Trevor Story hit a home run. All right, we're done talking about that. But I know this is at Fenway now. It's not in Chicago. And playing an under at Fenway is like a hold your nose, disgusting type bet because it's so scary. But given what we saw from these two pitchers, the last time these two teams played a week ago, a 3-1 game where it was a struggle for both teams to even get runners on base, could I intrigue you in an under or maybe a first 5 under between the Red Sox and White Sox?
You can definitely intrigue me on an under there. What is it, 9? Probably 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would buy into that. But I wouldn't do it until I checked the weather, because as we saw today, the weather
let's see
likes to get involved.
Let's see what the early reports are.
Let's see if
Boston
we have any
here.
winds blowing out.
I'll tell you right now. Even though it doesn't take a lot of wind to get out there at Fenway, I'm seeing 14.7 mile per hour winds blowing out to center field.
Nah,
and right center.
Don't do it.
Deepest part of the ballpark, though.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. It's true.
Will, you got anything else that you're looking at on tomorrow's schedule?
No, I guess we can switch gears to the NFL draft, and it's kind of snuck up on us, at least on me. The big question, we all assume Ward is going first. Where does Shedeur Sanders go? It's Deion's kid. He gets a lot of buzz. Is he go early to the Giants? Does he slip? Is this an Aaron Rodgers situation where he's still in the green room late? And any other thoughts you have here on the draft? Such
a great question. I think Shedeur Sanders has the biggest delta, right? He's either going to go like third or he's going to go like day 2, right? I think that's the main thing we're all going to be eating popcorn and watching on the TV because he's Deion's kid. I don't think it goes to the Giants. I just don't. I mean, with Jameis and Russ, I don't see it. I think he might go to the Raiders. They need him. Derek Carr now with the shoulder injury. I don't know how exciting that is, but I do think he will go in the first round. I don't think he'll be a second day pick, but my gut tells me it's not going to be the Giants. They just have 2 capable people there, and there's too many questions about Shedeur Sanders. I don't think they're going to use the pick there. But again, like, I don't know. That's the fun thing about the NFL draft, right?
And what I will say is as I'm going to be hosting shows leading up to the draft, I want to remind everybody, any piece of information that you hear, it's not inside information. Any information that you hear is because a team wants you to hear it. Mm-hmm. They will leak things to reporters. People will leak information because they want to float it out there. Like, maybe it's because they want to entice a team to trade. Maybe it's because they want to, send somebody off of the scent. Nothing is ever like a secret information that's found out. Anything that's out there is because a team wants it or an agent wants it to be out there. Jennifer Piacenti from SiriusXM Fantasy. Great time. Appreciate the spot and the insight. Good luck with your bets tomorrow. Tell the people where they can find you on social.
Oh, you can find me on X, Instagram at Jen Piacenti. Super simple.
And we'll be listening to SiriusXM Fantasy for your insight. I'm Scott Seidenberg alongside Will Hill. This is VSiN PrimeTime here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on VSiN PrimeTime. I'm Scott Seidenberg alongside Will Hill here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We have reached halftime of the Mavericks and Grizzlies play-in game for the 8th seed in the Western Conference. It is all Grizzlies, 66-49. They lead the Mavericks. Your live line is Grizzlies minus 16.5. Your live total of 222.5 right now between these teams. And Will, if you are looking at this live market right now, can I interest you in a second half under?
Sure. I could see a scenario where Memphis pulls away, and similar to Bulls Heat the other day, where, all right, we're Memphis. We got a big lead. Let's slow it down. Dallas just kind of exit stage left. So I could see this pace slowing down. One thing, I don't want to speculate, but it looked like Davis with like a minute left in the half. Stop me if you've heard this before. It looked like Davis was headed to the locker room. So I'll try as we talk here to search Twitter and see if we can find anything. But that would be a development where, man, you're down whatever, 18, 20 points going into half. Who knows about Davis for the second? Now, maybe he had a cramp. Maybe he's just wanted to get to the locker room early. I don't know. But if that's ever a situation where they don't have Davis for the second half, on top of the deficit, second game in 3 days, this could really get ugly for Memphis. And it could be a situation where Memphis, there's a domino effect where Memphis starts to pull their starters early, and this becomes one of those types of games.
Yeah, I want to be in on the under. And it kind of reminds me of what we saw in that first game where we were on pace pretty much for the same total, and the second half was going way under until we got overtime. So I do want to get into the second half at under 108. I'm going to play the second half to go under between the Grizzlies here and the Mavericks. Let's check out the prop market right now. John Morant is at 16 points. So I have under 24.5. I like the fact that the Grizzlies are up big, Will, because like we talked about, if they continue to pull away, maybe Ja doesn't play in the fourth quarter as he's dealing with the ankle injury. Live player point market, live player points, Ja is at 25.5. That is interesting. So he's just adjusted 1 point prior from his pre-game line. Would you be interested in a live under in Ja 25.5?
What's he at now? How many does he have?
He has 16 right now.
Yeah, I would. I think there's a possibility this gets out of hand and they sit him. I'll ask a stupid question. Is there a number on Davis?
Yeah, let me see. Right now you got Davis it's off the board. It was 34.5. It is now frozen. He's got 22.
Oh, so he had a hell of a first half. He had 22 in the first half.
22
How
points.
about this? They let you bet 35 plus on DraftKings minus 130. So you can bet the over, but when you go to the over under, it's frozen. So
it's frozen.
You can bet the over, you can't bet the under. That's nice.
Yep. Desmond Bane, I have him over 22.5 points. His live prop is at 25.5, as Desmond Bane has 15 points right now for the Grizzlies. And I have Jaren Jackson Jr. over 27.5 on his PRA, points, rebounds, and assists. Let's see your live player combos. I want to see what his live line is right now. His live line is points, rebounds, and assists. That's not right. Oh, that's rebounds and assists. It's 29.5. Okay. Live line says I'm good.
For you.
I'm good on the live line. Right. Let me tell you what he has right now, though. He has 10 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds. So he's at 17.
DraftKings has an over-under. They have an under on Davis, 3-pointers made, 1.5. The under is minus 148. He has 1 already, but if for whatever reason he doesn't come back in the second half, you win. And he could just also miss one, or he could get out of hand and they bench him for the fourth quarter, or he could just not shoot one, not make one, whatever. So under 1.5 threes for Davis is a play for me. Are
you concerned that if he does play, though, and they're losing, he's gonna shoot, you know? So
sure,
that's the one thing. It's a little risky there, because he's gonna shoot a 3. How about this? Klay Thompson.
We got to find out how hurt he is.
Yeah, I'm trying to search.
Which might be hard to do, though.
I'm trying to search Twitter as we're talking to see if anybody is posting anything about Anthony Davis, but I just keep seeing people talk about his performance in the first half, and every tweet's like,
or people tweeting, "Oh, what a shocker! Anthony Davis is hurt again."
Yeah. Nothing
it's a lot of that.
Some people talking about the Luka trade. So it's funny looking at Twitter when you're searching certain things. How about this for my Klay Thompson over 2.5 3-pointers made? Remember, he started out 2 of 3 from 3-point range. And I was already, I don't want to say I was counting this bet, but Will, I was talking to you about it saying, I feel great because he's going to shoot more threes. He just needs to make one. This is the second quarter. We're fine. Well, he has gone over since. Klay Thompson is 2 of 7 from 3-point range right now. In 17 minutes, he has only 8 points on 2 of 7 from 3-point range. Do you think he gets one more?
These player props with these lower ones, they can be tough. Like if you bet, I don't know, under 1.5 for assists, a guy can have none. 0 assists middle of the fourth quarter, and he get 2 on back-to-back possessions. It's tough. It's not a winner until it's a winner. It's not a loser until it's a loser. So with these player props, it's different than a game for me because there's not as many ebbs and flows. There's just more randomness to it. So I try to just wait till the end and kind of look and see if I won or lost and not really sweat it out.
Yep. The live player prop for Klay Thompson's threes is 3.5 with the under juiced at -162, the over 3.5 at +128. I don't need over 3.5. I just need one more. I need over 3. Meanwhile, second half lines across the board. I feel good about my under 108 because I'm seeing 107.5s pretty much throughout the market. Circa is at 108. But for the most part, Westgate's at 107.5. A couple other books are at 107.5. So I feel okay about the under 108. That is already in. That is a recommended live bet. I have played that already. I think, Will, you haven't played it, but you kind of lean towards my side here.
Yeah, and
But you're under on the game already, right?
Yeah, and I took Davis under 1.5 threes. How
Okay.
about Memphis? Just let's see, they're up 17. They're laying 16.5 for the game. So you're getting plus 0.5 point in the second half. I like Memphis here, don't you?
Yeah. You know what?
But you already have Dallas for the game. You probably don't want to middle yourself.
Oh, well, the Dallas for the game's a loss. Like that's over with. So I'm not worried about that. But I have the second half under. So I was thinking like, what's more likely to happen? Like if I look at the team totals here, I can get 55 on Dallas, 54 on Memphis. Like what's more likely to happen? I do think it goes under the 108, 108.5, whatever it is. I have under 108. So obviously these team total numbers are not good. It adds up to 109. But which team total would you like lean towards? Like, would it be the under on Dallas?
Yes.
I think so, right?
It is Memphis. They're up 17 now. They pull away and they get up 20-something end of the third quarter. Then the game just kind of dies in the fourth quarter. Then who knows in the fourth quarter when guys get pulled, what happens. But I think Memphis pulls away and the game just kind of ends at that point where Memphis is up 20-something. Then Dallas calls off the dogs. Memphis pulls their starters. And then, it's just decorated garbage time in the fourth quarter. I mean, look, Dallas could go on an 8-0 run to start the third and you know what? We got a ball game again, but I do get the sense Memphis is going to pull away here.
I'm not going to play.
Especially if no Davis.
Yeah, I'm not going to play any team totals. I'm just going to ride. I got the under 108 in the second half, and then my player props that are sweating out. So hopefully some of those, if not all of them, come through. And I hope that those do come through. But yeah, the under, I'm not going to do the team totals. I'm just going to do the under 108 for the second half. That's where we are right now. Again, 66-49. The Grizzlies lead the Mavericks as we are prepared to start the second half. In Major League Baseball, there's only 2 games in progress right now, and taking a look at the scores. Hey, by the way, I just have to update it because we talked about it before. Might as well update it now. 10-1 to the under. The Texas Rangers at home this year. 3-0 Dodgers win. 10-1 to the under. The best home under team in all of Major League Baseball.
Did you see how that game ended?
I did not. Did they have runners on?
It was 1-0 in the ninth. Dodgers get 2 runs.
Yep.
So it's 3-0. Texas gets 2 guys on base.
Ooh.
Tying run at the plate. Ground ball down the third baseline. Texas is swearing it's a foul ball. Bochy's out there arguing. Dodgers are shaking hands. I guess they ended up calling it a fair ball, and the Dodgers turned 2 to end it. It was just a very strange sequence to end that game. Wow.
Did they review it? Did it look like it was foul to you?
I don't think you can review that when it's over the third base bag like that because in a ground ball, I guess that's one that's not reviewable because they did not review it, and we're in the era where everything gets reviewed.
Wow. That's tough there. Good stuff, Will. Tomorrow, the playoffs begin. To recap your best bet, you are on Orlando's team total to go under in Game 1 against the Boston Celtics. That's coming up on Sunday. I have a bet coming up here for tomorrow. I'm going to go with the under in the first game between the Bucks and the Pacers at 224.5. Up next, it's the Sports Gambling Podcast with our guys, Sean Green and Ryan Kramer. And then tomorrow morning, get ready for all the playoff action with the VSiN Weekend Morning Line at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll be back on Live Bet Saturday tomorrow night. For Will Hill, I'm Scott Seidenberg. This is VSiN Primetime.